poisoned.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 movie mistakes only a historian would notice.
The mountains of the gods.
This is Sparta!
From this moment, no matter what we do, Titanic will founder.
For this list, we'll be looking at historical inaccuracies in films that are likely to upset any real experts about the era. Which history mistake irks you the most? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Inaccurate warfare. Braveheart. Believe it or not, Mel Gibson's poor attempt at a Scottish accent wasn't the only thing about Braveheart that upset war historians.
My friend, Irishman. And the answer to your question is yes. You fight for me, you get to kill the English.
Excellent!
One of the main issues involved the historical Battle of Stirling Bridge. Braveheart managed to leave out the bridge part of one of the most notorious battles in Scottish history. During the conflict, William Wallace and Andrew Murray strategically placed themselves in a way that obliged British forces to cross a bridge. After the bridge was bottlenecked with soldiers, it collapsed and resulted in victory for the Scots. Braveheart featured the battle in a field without a bridge or tactical advantage in sight. To add historical insult to injury, the blue face paint and tartan kilts also wouldn't have been worn at the time. Number 9. Wrong fruit. Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. You'd have to really know your produce to spot this one.
Well, I'm actually feeling rather good about this. I think we've all arrived at a very special place, eh?
Though the Pirates of the Caribbean series isn't the pinnacle of historical truths, there are some minor details that could have been more accurate. For example, we see fruit in the film a number of times, namely Granny Smith apples.
Try the wine. And the apple's one of those next.
But the films are supposed to take place in the 1700s. Granny Smith apples were first discovered and cultivated as a hybrid by Maria Ann Smith in the late 1860s in Australia. This means we see pirates eating apples that won't exist for over a century. Who knew the cursed pirate gold wouldn't be the most far-fetched aspect of this fantasy franchise?
You better start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one.
Number 8. The Escape, The Sound of Music. The final scene of this classic movie sees the Von Trapps escape Salzburg, Austria by heading into the Alps as they're accompanied with the song Climb Every Mountain. However, in the true account of the Von Trapps' escape, there were no mountains. In fact, they only had to cross the railroad tracks.
We will escort the Von Trapp family singers to the festival.
No escort will be necessary, Hazella.
Necessary? A pleasure, Captain. After all, we would not want you to get lost in the crowd.
The family would have actually been in Nazi Germany territory if they took the mountain route. Maria Von Trapp actually pointed this out in real life after viewing the film for the first time. As Salzburg does not border Switzerland, she had reasonable complaints about Hollywood's geography. We guess crossing railroad tracks just isn't as sensational as hiking the Alps. Number 7. The Electric Chair, The Green Mile. The Green Mile is a film that is widely acclaimed and remembered.
Do you leave the light on after bedtime? Because I get a little scared in the dark sometimes.
However, people may have forgotten about a glaring inaccuracy in the movie. The film's most tragic scene involves the use of an electric chair. The device itself was used within the movie's Louisiana prison in 1935. However, the chair wasn't used as capital punishment in the state until 1941.
I'm sorry for what I do. I give anything to take it back. But I can't.
Executions were also carried out at the courthouse, and not the prison itself until 1957. Considering this scene is so pivotal to the movie, it's surprising that no one pointed out these flaws. The fantastical and tragic nature of the plot probably distracted people from these factual errors.
He kill them with their love. That's how it is every day, all over the world.
Number 6. Wrong Tools, 10,000 BC. This film is greatly flawed, highly inaccurate, and takes incredible liberties with history. One issue historians were quick to point out was the use of metal tools. The film takes place between the Paleolithic and Mesolithic period. During that era, metal tools just plain didn't exist. Sapiens would have used smaller stone tools and wood or bone arrows and spears.
I claim the white spear, and with it my woman, Evelyn.
It would have taken them until the late Mesolithic and early Bronze Age to refine and polish these implements. The film also features certain animals like carnivorous birds that were long extinct by that time. And those pyramids you see in the film, yeah, those are about 8,000 years early.
Look at it. Look, that one.
All in all, we wouldn't recommend using 10,000 BC as a resource for any school papers. Number 5. Costume Faux Pas, Marie Antoinette. Marie Antoinette is a highly stylized movie that took some creative freedoms that may irk fashion historians. Firstly, there's a heavy use of pastel colors for the film's costuming as a whole. While such styles were available at the time, bright, vibrant colors were far more fashionable in that era. The dress Marie wears to that masked ball is actually accurate in color. However, its sheer sleeves and tulle overload make it an inaccurate style for the time. Ultimately, footwear contributed to the biggest blunder. A pair of Converse shoes can also be spotted in the film. Apparently, the director did it deliberately for the fun of it. While some audience members may have liked that choice, the sneakers may have driven historians crazy. Number 4. Misinterpreting the heroes and villains, 300. Anyone familiar with Greek history could have spotted a few inaccuracies in the 300 trailer alone. Although we enjoyed Gerard Butler's abs, Spartans wore more clothing and armor than the movie would have you believe.
Is this all of them?
As you ordered. 300. All with born sons to carry on their name.
But that was far from the most offensive inaccuracy. In the film, the Persians are shown to be owning slaves. They took extreme liberties with how they portrayed Xerxes.
You have many slaves, Xerxes, but few warriors. It won't be long before they fear my spears more than your whips.
However, he was mischaracterized, and slavery was not a widespread practice for Persians. Ironically, the Spartans were actually the ones who had a serving class known as helots.
Go now. Run along and tell your Xerxes he faces free men here, not slaves.
Granted, we weren't exactly expecting the film to be totally correct. Those major factual inaccuracies may change the way you see the heroes and villains on your next rewatch. Number 3. Wrong accent, Mary, Queen of Scots. A few of the movie's smaller historical liberties slipped under people's radars. But one thing that didn't go unnoticed by historians was Mary's accent.
I want him to love his uncle and to be born into a peaceful land.
I wish the same.
Then will you love your sister as you would love her child? For she still loves you.
Though she was ultimately known as the Queen of Scots, she spent the majority of her childhood in France. Mary also married the Dauphin of France, becoming queen consort from 1558 to 1560. She then returned to Scotland, but only at the age of 18. It is thus far more reasonable to assume that Mary Stuart actually spoke with a French accent.
Ici? Non. Il vous a embrassé. Ici?
The heavy Scottish accent portrayed in the film just wouldn't make sense when the actual history is considered.
As your crown one day unites two kingdoms. And we shall have peace.
Number 2, the unsinkable Titanic. Titanic. There are a number of historical issues in Titanic, some of which you may have heard of by now. However, a glaring question that has been debated amongst history enthusiasts is whether or not the ship was advertised as unsinkable prior to its maiden voyage.
So this is the ship they say is unsinkable.
It is unsinkable. God himself could not sink this ship.
Ads for the maiden voyage chiefly focused on luxury and accommodations aimed at wealthy potential travelers. Though it may have been discussed amongst industrial circles as unsinkable, the idea wasn't truly public and widespread until after the ship met its demise.
But this ship can't sink.
She's made of iron, sir. I assure you, she can. And she will. It is a mathematical certainty.
It was truly considered state-of-the-art engineering. However, wealthy socialites would likely not have cared for such technical details. For the film's purposes, however, the oft-repeated term serves to heighten the drama and irony of the disaster.
God almighty.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. The Queen and the Bubonic Plague, Shakespeare in Love. While Shakespeare in Love may have won an Oscar for Best Picture, it couldn't take home a grand prize for accuracy. The movie aimed to chronicle the playwright's struggles with theater and romance and started in 1593.
It is all locked safe in here.
God be praised. Locked.
As soon as I found my muse.
Who is she this time?
She is always Aphrodite.
However, playhouses were closed then due to a plague outbreak and other major social issues.
You've opened the playhouses. I have, Master Shakespeare. But the plague. Yes, I know.
But an open theater wouldn't have changed another major plot point. Queen Elizabeth I appears in person to take in a play. However, since actors commonly travel to her court, the idea of her going to a playhouse is wrong. The Queen's presence and societal problems are only a couple of the film's inaccuracies.
But I know something of a woman in a man's profession. Yes, by God, I do know about that.
Shakespeare in Love may have wooed the Academy, but it's unlikely to charm anyone who knows their history.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.